Welcome back, fellow armchair generals. This is Gamer1745 here with my continued playthrough of Hearts of Iron 3 with Black Ice 8 installed along with TRE. We are going to continue playing through 1937. Here, Japan has agreed we're going to sell them a bunch of metal for some money. Help their war industry. We'll give Italy energy, that's fine. And Iraq, quit buying our energy. Not good. Okay, navigation, naval air pilots. Training has advanced. To 1937 levels. Let's see, we're down here. I think, and if somebody knows, like Oh My God or whoever may be watching this, if you know, if it's actually easier to research, way out of date the other way, text or not, I don't know. I don't know if they get easier to research or just the same hardness. Oh, well, I think we're going to have some effects pop up here at the start of the game. Hopefully soon, maybe not, I don't know. Okay, we're building a lot of ICs there. Once this wave hits, we will, well, build more. Well, does Romania want energy? Certainly, we'll give you energy. We're trying to draw some countries like Romania, like Finland, in closer to us to get them in our alliance earlier, quicker. Can only help us. How does the Spanish Civil War look? We got our ships off there, so we're sort of seeing some partisans seeing what's going on. The Nationalists are attacking into there. Twin-engine bomb bays have advanced, so that means we're developing better light bombers, or light and medium. Okay, it's 37 now, so we're looking at making sure. Oh, that's why we went into the red, because we got a lot of those other techs, so we're going to let that just expire. These techs in here, steel production, road network. I forget sometimes, because I sometimes take a few days. I will play 2 or 3 episodes and then not play for a few days and then play again, so I forget what we were doing last time. Well, at this point I believe it's a foregone conclusion that nationalist Spain will win. Yeah, short-lived, but we liked it. Spanish Civil War. Soviets have an outbreak there. I no longer get money for fuel. Okay, mountain infantry activation has happened. We've achieved that goal. And also artillery barrel. Barrel and ammunition is increased, which is a very good thing, but we're going to work our way back so that everything is in the green again. While we work to build up our national technologies. Incendiary bombs. Well, that's just an achievement. We don't get additional levels, but that helps our strategic bombing capabilities. Naval battles between the Republicans. The Nationalists going on while they're trying to invade Ibiza. They want to get out there with all those topless chicks. Troop ship flotillas. So we can, so now we can, we've achieved that. We need to get hulls so we can build transports, but what we want to do is increase the hulls. That's something that I will do now. Make sure that's done because I don't want to forget it. And anti-air and anti-tank ammunition has been improved. Once we get a little more into the green, we may come back and do some other research there. And Iran, we give them money for crude oil. No, not that big of an amount. But you know what I will do, since they have some crude oil they want to sell, we will buy one crude oil. Let's see, Iraq is still a deficit there. Can we sell them rare material or supplies maybe? Let's see if we can sell them supplies. No. Saudi Arabia. Oh, maybe they'll buy supplies. No. Turkey by any chance? They might. They have any money? Yes, they might buy some supplies. No. Just got that one factory in. Here. So you can see our infrastructure continued to grow with various resources and other things. Okay, railroad network advance. That's very good. Here, 1938 technology. Trying to see if there's something else that we should be focusing on instead. Yeah, I think so. So we're going to cancel that. And monumental architecture. Change my mind to giant infrastructure project because it's a 12, so that's one of the longest reaching, and I would prefer. Let's kick it up top. And I prefer to get it done before the end of this year, which doesn't look like we will, but it looks like we can get it done in 1938. But by the time it gets to 38, see this, my understanding with these is that this is the date it's going to be finished at the current rate of research for 1937. The rate of research will be faster in 1938 than it will be in 37. So it will speed up once it gets into 38. So it doesn't, I don't think, adjust for those changes. Now, as we see here, supply transfer costs reduced, supply throughput cost, or not cost, but supply throughput increased, and supply production has increased with the railroad. That part of it, and then we will, 2.5% ICs until May 37. So we'll take that hit. As well as the previous bonuses, we're now from 1% to 1.2% efficiency in IC production, or IC efficiency for production, and supply throughput is again 0.2% better than before. Okay, we've lost high popularity and we're down to medium popularity. Okay, since we had the very big success of the Winter sports, Winter Olympics in Garmisch, Part 10 Kirchen, Germany decided to continue the practice. Obviously the Olympics every 4 years. Since they built the facilities, they set up an international winter sports games. And the first one was in 1937. Poster from it, and one of the little badges or pins from it. And as you can see here, based on the flags there, I figured those are the participating countries, so it will improve our relations by a little bit. Having the entertainment will reduce dissent some, and training up for the Olympics, well, these aren't Olympics, but for these sports games. You don't just train the pure elite athletes, do more, so it helps on developing equipment and mountain unit and ski brigade training, so it'll help us. We could decide not to do it. If you decide not to do it, you won't get the future games that will also happen, that you get to put in some supplies and such to improve things. Okay, the Paris Exposition. This was a sort of like a World's Fair that happens in the U.S. It's a major international trade / how great my country is event. Paris held, I believe there was only one of them, 1937. This is not like the first or the third, it's just V1, and it was a major event. And Speer here, Albert Speer, is looking along, showing Hitler his model for the German pavilion, and you can sort of see the scale. These are steps that you walk up in, and that's like a door that's like 2 people tall, you know, or however, you know, I mean, like 15, 20 feet tall, I don't know, so you can figure how tall that is. And it at least looks stone when you see the photos of it. So I don't know what it was made out of, concrete or something. And so this, because we're going to be building it in a foreign country, is going to cost us money, it's going to cost us some metal and some supplies, but that. So Hitler wants a big thing, or we can decide not to go there. The Soviet, as it says here, the pavilion is directly opposite to the German one, and so this is sort of a national issue. So we're going to go there. We're going to set up a big promotion for Germany and German products in there. Okay, this is an event from the D-Worm, because of the Nobel Prize and I forget the gentleman's name who was banned from going. They decided to set up a German national prize, sort of in competition to the Nobel Prize. And of course, since these were Nazis, basically it was to celebrate, you know, super German. So you weren't going to be pulling in people from all over the world, potentially, like the Nobel Prize. So we can execute the degree, which will lose dissent, increase popularity, lose a little money, or we can decide not to spend the teeny bit of money and lose organization. So we're going to go with that and have that. Salt concentration has advanced. That is good. We still need this to roll on for superior firepower. 1940. But I'm going to decide not to push it at this moment because I think it is better to push here. Are we still in? Oh, we're back in the red because we're back in the red because we lost the high popularity. Those couple of events that reduced dissent has gotten us down to 1.9. We had basically been at 3 before, or 2.9 or whatever, so those have helped us. Let's see how Portugal's doing. Let's see if we can sell them. Do they have money or not? Not really, okay. So we're not going to be able to, well, can we buy something from them? Let's see if we can buy a metal. We are low on that, and I know we're selling some. No. Want to increase relations with Portugal. Okay. Okay, artillery carriage design has increased, which is a very good thing, but since we're in the red still, we're going to let that go. We're almost ready for another major boost in ICs. And another tech has happened. Okay. I think it's our artillery tech. Yes, range finding equipment is increased to 4. And there we go. Now we're out of the red. We'll see. Hopefully we can get back our increased popularity. And another tech. Airport capabilities have advanced. So we're going to stop that. And we're going to just checking some of the other capabilities here. Yes, we're going to go with mass events. And take our penalty now for airport level 2. So now we are, penalty is reduced to a total of 4% for runway cratering if they decide to attack. And our air intercept efficiency is improved, as well as our air organization has improved by 0.2%. Yeah, it's minor, but it all adds up. There's other techs and doctrines that we have that will help. Okay, medium velocity guns have increased to 1. That is a good thing. That means our panzers will be well armed. And we're going to continue here with the Secretary of Public Information, mainly because it will keep us, it will improve our leadership a little bit, which balances out from some of the other attacks, as well as keep us from having propaganda fails once the war starts. I haven't done any major reorganization yet, but you can see I have moved the garrison, or a set of garrison divisions along what will be the west wall. Okay, there were, obviously, before World War I, German colonies in Africa. One of the fairly well populated by Germans was in Southwest Africa here. And a lot of the Germans that lived there stayed. Unlike, I believe, Tanganyika, a lot of them left, and Cameroon, a lot of them left. I think mainly because a lot of them were there for, if you will, pure economic reasons. It was a job, chance to, succeed, do well. But I don't think they wanted to make it their home. I guess the sort of dry, less jungly territory here was more conducive to the idea that they wanted to colonize it and stay. So you can see here that we're having a little bit of a problem, which I thought I had corrected several times, and I guess I haven't. It says support our allies. What is happening here, and I'm going to say no to this, but I'm going to have to fix it because I have I have a conflict between two of my mods is what's going on here right now. The image is from Tanganyika. The text is from minor air bases, so that they're using the same one for Iraq. And I think the event effects, though, are from Tanganyika, so it sort of mixed the events up, and I thought I had straightened this out, but I guess I haven't between the conflict of event numbers. So we're going to leave them alone. If you have Tanganyika installed, it should work just fine. It's only if you also have the airbases mod installed as well where you get this conflict. And this is just a way to help support the German youth movement, a Hitler Youth type organization, as you can see here, in Southwest Africa. But we're going to leave them alone for the moment. Yeah, it upsets me a little bit because I know I've gone in and fixed that, because I knew that I had that problem. But I thought I had gotten it fixed. I thought I'd gotten everything installed right and set back up on there, but I don't know. I mean, installed right as in that I put it up on the server properly. Okay, here we go. Exploratory drilling. If you may have recently watched my tutorial videos on buildings for Black Ice 8 as well as resources, I talked about Germany having some oil reserves. They did have some. They were fairly small. Nothing really on the scale of Ploiești in Romania at the time. I've wondered whether they've even gone back and tried drilling again, because with the modern fracking technologies, they could probably pull a lot of oil out. Though right now, as I'm making this, the oil prices on the world market are pretty low, primarily because the U.S. has now become a major oil producer again because of that, and we have lots of oil coming out because of fracking, so then that's a good thing. There was a move at this time, somewhat part of the 4-year plan, to get these companies, these are the 4 major German oil companies at the time. Well, I'm not going to try to pronounce all of these and the logos there. Or, and this, we can set this up. I haven't yet. But I can set this up maybe for the next version to add another one of these to do this. So right now we can start the drilling, which may or may not get us more oil wells later on. I think I'm going to retool this a little bit, but so right now I'm going to go now, partially because I know it's a crapshoot as to whether you get it, and we're sort of low on supplies. I didn't really want to hit that at the moment. Okay, twin engine armament research has advanced. That's good. Since we're still in the red here, we'll just kill that. You see how Spain, well, if the Nationals can cut Republican Spain in two, that will certainly hurt them. Pretty sure they closed that one down if I remember correctly. I guess either a rebel outbreak type thing or they re-invaded over here. Well, right now I'm sort of pleased at this number, because what it's showing me is some of the events that I have made, I've had them cost steel as well, because Germany wasn't really awash in steel in the sense that this should be building up to a super high number. So that's pretty good. So we're using some of it up. As you know, we're also using it up here too, building all these things as well as events. Okay, Vortscher, or Bevo, which B-E-V-O here is what that's sort of an abbreviation for. They were one of the major manufacturers of armbands and other badges worn on uniforms, both political and military. You can see the size of their factory here. If you're a uniform collector, you would know what this means. So we have the choices. We can spend that, including a brief till February 25th, 10 days of 6%. See, 6%, that's awfully big for one IC, but it's just for 10 days. Plus a few supplies and metals to get another IC. So I'm going to take it. I think it's worth it. So we're expanding the factories for more uniforms and badges. Okay, Air Force HQs have advanced. We like that. We're going to let it roll. I think there's also Naval HQs have advanced as well. Our blueprints were stolen by the Danes. Wonder what it was and wonder which one. Yeah, naval HQs. We're gonna let that go. And what is this? Twin engine bomb bay. Oh, short barrel tank. Okay. We're gonna stop that. Just got rid of that. Supply organization, supply through. We're gonna wait for 38 on that. So I don't think that's affecting us much right now within Germany. I think we'll research it faster and more efficiently. In 38. We're going to go with twin engine fighter plane prototypes. So you can see increased organization and morale for air units and naval units. And for me, the big thing, which I don't know that we're getting here. I think they've changed it. It doesn't seem to reduce it. Or I don't know if these... No, these texts didn't. It's mainly the these that are reducing, and these that are reducing time in between attacks. So we're going to get on those in a short while. But those can be researched much faster, and we're not attacking anyone so they're not a priority. So we will say yes. We will get an additional naval HQ. We want that. And we will get a Flieger Corps or 2 HQs. We give them money for fuel. No, I don't. Even though I want to trade with Argentina, I'm not going for fuel right now. This creeps up a little bit because of a few HQs. Come on the map. Nope, I meant to hit the little plus symbol there. Okay. There we go. So we will... He's in Kiel, so we'll put him to the North Sea here. Let's give him an admiral to command him. Skill, so we get all the admirals down here. I don't think, and I don't know if anybody's done any good experimentation, I don't think some of these traits will transfer into units that they command that are at sea, but still it might affect things, so I do pay attention to it. Obviously they don't have any skill here. And they shouldn't, because they're not trained for ground operations, and that's the primary thing. So I'm going to use him over here for Flieger Corps, so we're going to send him over there. So right just a few days away, we're going to get first that. We've gone up to 4.85 because of the winds. If you can have these in pure waves, it would probably be better. But actually, I think, and somebody may do the math, I think something like having 3 or 4 at a time come up would be better, so that keeps the practicals from deteriorating. We're going to increase supply production. It's taking a fairly big hit. Okay, Fleet Auxiliary Carrier Doctrine. Well, we no longer have to do this because we've already got Marine activation. So I'm not going to push real early on this. I do want the extended range most assuredly. We will be using a lot of small ships, destroyers, torpedo boats, motor torpedo boats in operation. So this is a very good tech for us, or doctrine for us to research. So we're going to do that, and this is the recon tech of defensive positions. Sure, that would be right here. So we're going to cancel that. I think we're going to do radar training. We're going to get the radars moving along. We're not going to let the British get too big of a lead on that. No, a diplomatic report from Czechoslovakia. The National Settlement Agreement, that's what that is. Reports that the Czechoslovakian government adopted the National Settlement Agreement, in which the government is committed to improving the economic, cultural, and social situation in the border regions, read Sudetenland. If this is allowed to stand, the SDP may lose support. So this was the Czechs' attempt at placating the Sudeten Germans by improving their situation. I don't know if they were particularly neglected or not from, government spending on infrastructure and similar sorts of developments, new schools, things like that. But this was an attempt at Czechoslovakia to deal with the growing Sudeten crisis internally. So that's just an informational event to an effect, an event that happened inside of Czechoslovakia. The Croatian question. I think this is the D-Worms mods. Disappointed with relations between the Italian and the Ustachi organization. That's the Croatian fascists, basically. Pavelic wants to increase his relations with Germany. The Croatians had long been, shall we say, supporters of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, partially because the Austro-Hungarian Empire was Catholic, they were Catholic, and they thought it was better to side with the Catholic overlords or whatever against the Orthodox Serbs in the region, so that they were that Mussolini, as we talked about in earlier episodes, wanted to rebuild the Roman Empire. So when people, various fascists and nationalists, some were more fascist, some were more nationalist, Ustachi were more fascist, trying to suck up to Italy, because unlike we talked earlier, also Hitler was trying to early on suck up to Hitler, or to Mussolini. Mussolini might like their state visits, but he really wouldn't overly support them in overt ways that would disrupt his future plans for greater Roman Empire. Most fascist organizations, unlike international communist organizations, were highly nationalistic. So an international, and I'm using the terms on purpose, the international communists or international socialists, sort of believed in the withering away of the state, and so could believe in the idea of a Soviet Union or one world Soviet type government and be happy with that. Fascists, whether it's in Yugoslavia, in Greece, in Hungary, weren't looking to join up to a greater single fascist country or state. They were looking to just simply create a fascist alliance, if you will, for their state and improve it. So they ideologically agreed in economics and internal terms, but where one or more of them, because we also know like Hungary wanted to grow into what had been parts of the Austro-Hungarian Empire, particularly ones when it's Austro-Hungary, the Hungarian parts, which would include parts of Yugoslavia, parts of Romania, parts of Czechoslovakia, the Slovak regions. They wanted to grow there, so that there was these conflicts going on. So we can provide some funds, which helps out that. And this is a policy that breaks up Yugoslavia to some degree, so it hurts our relations with Yugoslavia. Or we can improve our relations with Yugoslavia, but hurt it with our other possible future allies. So we're going to go with it, and so because we have been building up a reserve of money, we can afford the $10 or whatever you want for that. Okay, the 1937 Berlin Auto Show. Again, an annual show. One of the cars from at the poster. Usual sorts of stuff. We get to do some industrial espionage, improve our capabilities, looking at what neighboring countries bring in, and I presume they examined the other cars for technical improvements. So help ourselves out a little bit. There was a lot of industrial, there still is a lot of industrial espionage. When somebody comes up with a new suspension system, springs, or whatever that work better, other companies start to copy the idea. We'll give them fuel for money. We want to build up money, and we're like our nationalist allies. We will no longer get money from the Soviet Union for those supplies. Okay, a bunch of people want to buy supplies. Yes to Japan, yes to America, and even yes to Ireland. Particularly glad of Japan. Hopefully that sticks around to improve our relations with them. Aero engine research has advanced. That's good. Now we're finally fully into the green there. We're gonna work on catching up there. No, that was very short-lived. See if we get something better than Cuba and, was it Nicaragua? No, Guatemala. Similar colored flags. Okay, Mussolini has decided the trains will run on time. And I don't know if you live in a country where you could imagine, but that the train's not running on time, to me that is shocking. The U.S., and I don't know how much, obviously the world understands time zones, I'm not being that stupid, but the U.S. has several time zones. They were created back in the 19th century because originally it was just, it's about noon here, so let's set my, sun straight up and down, let's set my watch to noon. And so all across the United States in the 19th century, they knew what Greenwich Mean Time was for navigational aids, you know, and sailing and other things. But there wasn't an official, you know, starting of noon in Houston or in Los Angeles or like Louisiana, you know, New Orleans or whatever. I think until it's after the Civil War. I'm not sure exactly the date, but sort of mid-late 19th century. And so this would cause problems for the trains because they would be flowing, you know, they you know, had schedules, but they were generally running on the same tracks, and often they were going in opposite directions of each other, though they were passing places and whatnot. But if a train's starting out here, traveling this way, and the guy set his watch over here, and another guy's going this way, and set his watch for over here for whatever the time was, they might, and they did quite often, end up colliding, as well as colliding into the back of each other and other sorts of problems. So it's not just the idea of, hey, I you know, don't want to be late, or I want it to be on time, or, you know, and I understand, and if I understand correctly, there was it wasn't just the trains, but it's more than that. But the trains were sort of like, well, when we're ready, we'll go, and, you know, we'll get there, and the times are, you know, the schedules were sort of, you know, this is a guide, so, you know, it's going to leave by noon, so we say 11 o'clock, and by noon it normally leaves, and it'll get there by, well, this can, of course, cause train accidents, theoretically, to my mind. You know, maybe it didn't in Italy, I don't know, maybe they organized their railways and such, but the idea that the train's not running to a time schedule, and you can build into a time schedule you know, cushions, you know, you can build in a 20-minute, 30-minute, whatever window, so, and they'll for sure leave, you know, and you can wait, you know, okay, everybody ready to go, and, you know, plan on being ready at 10, but you say 10:30, and so everybody tries to get ready, and maybe it's at 10:15 they're ready, and they just wait for another 15 minutes and then go to be on schedule, so they're not showing up too early or too late at a railroad junction somewhere. To me, that just seems simple, but to have a country that it wasn't standard is just, to me, incredible. But maybe that's the way, you know, now that's how I think of it, at least, and we hear about major train accidents happening in places like India to this day. So, and I don't mean to slam India, but that's my understanding of how things are. So it was just incredible that this has to be a thing back then in, you know, the 20th century, that Italy, and it takes a fascist dictator with fascist dictatorial powers to force the trains to run on time. And it's, you know, to my mind, as much as a safety factor as it is any sort of convenience or precision factor that, you know, just a country feels that everything must be precise. Well, when it's a safety thing. Escort ship damage control. Okay. So that's that one. So it clears out our... I'm just looking through some of the text here. Hoping somebody more allied to us wants to come and trade with us soon. Well, Poland isn't, but... Uh-oh. Okay. Okay, well, this has been long enough. I'm going to, probably off camera, go through, and we just had a bunch of these, or one of these show up here, because I didn't pay close enough attention. Now, as you see, we've gone down to 4.8% on a bunch of factories, so I'm going to stick a bunch more factories on the map. Thanks for viewing. We can take a quick look, because I know some of you want to. Around the world, though the only real main action here is in Spain. You can see that. Communists, the Nationals had taken that province, but the Communists got it back. And I think everything else is mostly stable. No significant revolts breaking out in the Soviet Union. Okay, thanks for viewing. We will see you next time.